Hi, everybody. Welcome to your Empower workshop, where we will show you how to take back control of your results in life, because after all, it is your life, it is your time, and you are the boss. It's really great to see you here, and I've been really excited actually about this one, because the things that we'll be sharing and covering today will really very quickly start to impact your life for the better. And it's basically just sharing some very simple tools and some understanding that will create a massive shift for you. So make sure you've got pen and paper ready. If you've got any questions, please pop them in the comments and I will actually pick them up after the session. And there is a workbook available. So if you don't already have it, then message us with your email address and we'll pop it across to you, because it's actually the written work that does tend to make the true transformation for you. So I wanted today to start with really some basic truths. So what is inside of you is way more powerful than what is outside of you. You are way more than your circumstances. You also cannot achieve beyond what you believe is possible, right? And you can never outperform your self-image. The thing is, if you believe that you can, you're right. And if you believe that you can't do something, you're also right. And the great thing is that success is a system and is based on universal laws. So when we understand these laws and we align with them, you have to be successful, because a law applies to everything, to everyone, every time. So once we start to understand that and we can follow the process in the system, for sure, you're going to be successful in whatever it is that you want. So what I really want you to do is to allow yourself the freedom to decide on what it is that you really want, right? And focus on the what. The how is not relevant and is not important, because the thing is, the thing that you really want is new. And so you're not going to know how to do it. So you don't need to worry about the how, because you're going to learn how to do it and find out how to do it on your way to what you really want. So a lot of my clients, they were working, when they started with me, they were working way too many hours and really in quite stressful jobs. So by learning to understand themselves and what's going on inside of them, they very, very quickly and absolutely permanently changing the outside, the results that they're getting in life. So what the thing to remember is that there is really quite a big difference between perception and perspective. Okay, so as Wayne Dyer said, and I think I mentioned this in nearly all of the calls that I do, but it is so true, is that when you change the way that you look at a thing, the thing that you look at changes. When you change your perception about something, you will create a different understanding and a different belief about it. So, which can be quite empowering, right? So what does empower really actually mean? So I asked the Cambridge Dictionary this time, and they define empowerment as the process of gaining freedom and power to do what you want or to control what happens to you. Now, the thing is that most of us have given away a lot of our power, and it's really time to take it back. So by doing that, you will absolutely reignite your passion. You will sort out your life. And at the same time, you're going to give everybody else around you the freedom to do the same. How good's that? So we'll cover 3 topics today. The first one is time, or rather activity management. And for us to feel free and empowered, we really need to be in order. We need to be organized. The second topic is responsibility. And again, for us to feel free and empowered, we need to know what to take responsibility for and who or what we are responsible to. Massive difference, and severely misunderstood by most people. And it's actually one of the biggest elements that will hold you back. And then the last topic today is confidence. So we'll talk about confidence. And confidence basically is knowing that you know. Okay, so to achieve the results that you want, to have or be or do whatever it is you want, you have to be confident. And so we'll talk about what confidence really is and how you get it in the areas where it isn't that strong yet. And I so love doing these workshops and these masterclasses, because really the most amazing reward in my job as a life coach is really to see people change very, very quickly, change their life around. and they're basically waking up feeling good, they're feeling energized, they're excited, they are living the life that they really want to be living, and they're really free from, what we would say maybe negative obligations and pressure, little or no stress at all, and really feeling fulfilled at the end of the day. So if that's something how you want to feel, then absolutely reach out, right? Because that is so, so possible. Because who doesn't want to feel great every day, right? And all it really takes, I promise you, all it takes is just a slightly different perception on things, a slight tweaking on some of the ways that we're thinking, and adjusting some of the habits that we currently have. So if you get stuck in, you will totally be transformed. So make sure that you consider the questions that we're asking during the session, and then do the exercises in the workbook, because really what you want to do is you want to allow yourself to be transformed rather than just informed, right? It's nice to take all this knowledge and to, start to get more information about how these things work. But for you to make a change in your life, you really have to start applying them. And it's the written work that will do that for you. So Einstein said, and this is another one I mention a lot, also because it is so true, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and then expecting a different result. So just take that in properly. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And that's what most of us do, right? We just think, well, I'll just do a little bit more. I'll just try a little bit harder. And we keep doing more and more of the same with no change in our results, but absolutely higher level of frustrations popping up, right? And of course, we can do without that. So if your way isn't working, you must try another way. You must adjust your plan. So ask yourself, how long have you been doing what you're doing? And if you're going to keep doing what you're doing, where will you be? How will things change? What will be different in a year, in 6 months, in a year, in 2 years, in 5 years? And if you're not going to change something now, then when are you going to change it, right? Because we're always busy. We always have responsibilities, or we feel that we have. But you've got to start to do something differently. So, there is never a right time, but actually there is the right time, because now is always the right time, because now is all we've got, right? So let's change things up and let's start to do things a little bit differently. So first topic, activity management. So most people do say time management. I have to manage my time. I'm struggling with managing my time. But you cannot manage your time, because everybody has the same 24 hours in the day, right? Everybody has the same 60 minutes in an hour. We've got the same 60 seconds in a minute, the same time in a week, the same time in a month, in a year, in 10 years. So we cannot manage the time we have. The only thing we can actually be sure about is we are not sure about is how much time we will have from now until the end of our journey on Earth, right? So let's use the time that we have well, and let's live in our now, and let's manage the activities that we plan within that time that we've got, because now is all there is. The past is gone. And the thing is, you have to decide whether you're going to be a victim of your past. And, if you're going to think of those experiences and feel like life's been done to you, or are you going to use those experiences, whether they were negative or positive, and allow them to empower you for the rest of your life, right? And the thing is, tomorrow never comes, right? You got to decide right here, right now, what you want your future to look like. And what you do in your now is going to dictate your future now. So the thing is that when we worry about the future, we are imagining something that we don't want. And we're imagining something that hasn't happened yet. And when we're looking forward to the future, when we're excited about the future, we imagine something that we do want. And it also hasn't happened yet. So worry, which we can also call fear or lack thinking, and looking forward, being excited, which we could call faith or abundance thinking, they both require us to believe in something that we cannot yet see, right? Because it hasn't happened yet. So you have a choice. Are you going to have fearful thoughts, or are you going to have thoughts that have faith that things will happen, that you believe the good things or the bad things are going to happen? So to feel good and to see the results that you really want, you're going to have to train your mind to think on the positive side of the spectrum to develop that faith. So let's get into it. So let me show you a few ways to how you can quickly de-stress and create more free time. See, the thing is that we're human beings. We are spiritual beings in a body. We're having a human experience, and we are part of nature. Now, nature is always expanding, it's always growing, and it is always for well-being. So why not realize that and then consistently tell yourself that things happen for you, not to you. No matter how good or bad the experience, it's happening for you. It creates a very, very different feeling. When you think that something is happening for you, you feel empowered. When you think something is happening to you, you feel diminished, really. There's nothing you can do. Anyway, so one of the first laws of nature is order. So, for instance, fall or autumn comes after summer. Day comes after night. Night comes after day. You plant a seed, it sprouts, it buds, and then the flower unfolds. Everything is in order. So for us to feel good, because we are part of nature, we have to, and for us to be effective and productive and creative, we have to be in order, which means that our mind has to be in order. And the way that we get our mind in order basically is to get organized. So have you ever, maybe you've cleaned your house, done a spring clean, or you decluttered all your cupboards, or you cleared out your wardrobe, your kitchen cupboards, or maybe you cleaned your car, or you sorted the tools in your garden shed. When you've done that, it feels good, right? It feels free, it feels clear. You feel like you're tidied up. So you are then feeling clean and clear and uncluttered, and your mind is clear, clean and uncluttered. Put my teeth in. So anyway, as an aside, it is actually a really good exercise to do some mental housekeeping on a regular basis. Just clear out the past experiences that don't serve you anymore, the beliefs that no longer serve you, any ideas or thoughts and feelings that are really not conducive to achieving what you want. Get rid of them. So, the actions and the reactions and the responses that we display that don't move us further to our goals, get rid of them. So what I want you to do is think of your typical day and think of some activities in that day. Maybe think of yesterday, or if it's your evening, maybe think of your day today. And I bet you that 90 to 98% of what you did in that day is automatic, it's habitual. And the thing is that we don't just have habitual ways of doing things, we have habitual ways of thinking. We have habitual ways of feeling. We have habitual ways of acting and interacting with others. We have habitual ways of believing what is and isn't possible. Now, the thing is that we got into so many of these habits really without even realizing it. And, in line with a natural law, the law of cause and effect, each of our actions has a reaction, and we would call that reaction your result. So when we take actions that don't get us to our goal, actions that waste our time, really, we feel busy and we feel overwhelmed for no valid reason at all, except that we are used to taking those actions and doing those things. Again, remember, this is your life. It's your time. It's no one else's. You are responsible for using your time in the most optimal way. And we talk about responsibility in a bit. So a great exercise to do to really get a grip of the activities that you are using your time for and how productive or effective that is or isn't. For a full week, every day, do what I call a day in the life of me. Write down everything you do every half hour or every hour, and include everything, right? So include work, sports, chatting, any distractions that you have, be honest about that. Any meetings that you have, times that you're eating, your bio breaks, getting ready, fag breaks, eating, everything. So write down every single thing that you do in the hours that you are awake. And then very quickly, you'll see areas where you are what we call leaking time. You're being distracted. So for instance, someone might stop you to have a chat. Maybe that's at home, it's in the garden, maybe it's on your walk, it's at work. And before you know it, 20 minutes have passed and you've not talked about anything. Or maybe you've listened to someone complaining about something that has absolutely nothing to do with you. So cut those conversations short. You don't need to be rude. You can just say, sorry, I've got something I need to do. I've got somewhere I need to be. Let's catch up another time. Don't let someone else take up your time if it doesn't help you achieve what you want to achieve. And there is a time for socializing. The thing is, plan your time for socializing. So a great way to keep your mind in order is to take control of your day. And really, if we control the start and the end of our day, we control our day because we can basically handle whatever happens in between those times. So start your day with a routine that you have decided on. For instance, make your bed, write in your gratitude journal. Maybe you do a workout first thing in the morning. Maybe you get ready, have breakfast with your loved ones. Whatever it is, make sure that it's a routine that you've chosen, even if it's 10 minutes. And then finish your day with a routine that you have decided on. So maybe you have a shower. Maybe you again write in your gratitude journal. Maybe you visualize your goals, etc. Even again, if it's just 10 minutes, make sure that it is a routine that you have decided on. And it doesn't matter what it is, except for the gratitude. So I always absolutely, urge you to have a gratitude journal and to write down every morning and every evening what you are grateful for. And in fact, what we do in my training is we write down 5 things that we are grateful for that are here now, so they've manifested already, and 5 things that we will be grateful for when they manifest in our future. Super, super, super important. So make sure you start your day with your routine and you end your day with your routine, and you will immediately feel way more in control, right? And you absolutely will be able to just deal with whatever happens in between that time. So let's talk planning and diaries. Super, super important to be organized if your mind is going to be in order. Okay? So we all have lots of different aspects to our lives. And so it is really important to put the planning into one place. So make sure that you have one diary or schedule that incorporates everything, and don't have a separate one for work and for home life, personal life. So put everything together. And to be organized, you've got a plan, right? Because that gives you the freedom, the feeling of freedom because of several things. So the thing is, when there is something that you need to do, it is on your mind and it's taking up brain space. Right? So but when you then plan that thing in your diary, you can actually forget about it until the time comes to do it. So when you take it out of your brain and put it into a schedule, forget about it. So a really great exercise to do is to start by writing one big list, could be several pages, of everything you can think of that needs to be done and everything you can think of that you want to do. And then categorize those by work and by private. And then you can subcategorize private if you want to, maybe into things that must be done, like you've got to eat, right? And you've got to paint the walls, or you've got to clear your shed or whatever. And then the things that you want to do, like a hobby, or maybe socializing. Now, many of my clients are really busy executives and business owners who work way too many hours, as I said before, and then they'll still think about work when they're not at work. Okay, but it's just a habit. So if that resonates with you, be sure I can't tell you how true this is. It is just a habit that you've got yourself into, right? So for sure, I can get you out of that habit. And here is what I recommend those people do. So block work time in your diary. So as an example, maybe start at 9 o'clock, break at noon, and then finish at 5 p.m. So some of those clients work globally. So for some of them, some of their days may have a 7 a.m. start, break at noon, and then maybe they start again for a couple of hours at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But make sure that you plan and block your work time. That really is the key. Block it. You don't have to sort of fill it in with meetings, but just plan in your diary, work. From this time to this time, work. Okay. And it doesn't matter whether it's a full day or a split day, as long as you mark it, work. And then the key to do then is to plan all of your meetings and all of your work things within that blocked time, not outside of it, only in that blocked time. See, the thing is that if you've planned to finish work at 5 p.m., say, and someone then asks you to do a meeting, you will probably be inclined to say yes. But the thing is that if you already had a meeting planned at 5 o'clock with someone else at that time, you would say, sorry, I can't make it, right? Can we do XYZ time? You'd propose a different time. So treat your free time, your time that comes after work time, as a really important meeting. And do not plan any meetings in that free time. So nearly all of the time, the meeting can be done another time. It doesn't have to be then. You don't have to accommodate someone else because they want to have a meeting at 5 o'clock. You can say, sorry, I'm otherwise engaged. Let's do it 4 o'clock, or let's do it the day after, for instance. It's actually very, very rare, unless there's a super crisis going on, that it is so urgent that any meeting has to happen outside of your own blocked time, right? And that will very, very quickly get you into control. It's actually a very difficult habit to get into for most people, but do it anyway, right? And to be fair, you will probably need a coach or an accountability buddy at least to stop you from drifting on that one, because you're so in the habit of accommodating other people who want to have a meeting with you that it's going to take some effort and some time and some awareness and so some commitment really to make sure that you stick within those working times that you've blocked out. Okay, let me just take a drink. So we're going to do an exercise in a minute to illustrate how strong some habits are. Okay, and if you've been following me for a while and listened to some of my masterclasses before, you will know this one, but it's always a really good reminder. So I want you to fold your arms like that. Okay, and then I want you to shake your arms out. Excuse me, and then I want you to fold them, but the opposite way to how you would normally do that. Okay. And then if you've done that, shake out your arms again, and then again fold them opposite to how you would normally do it. And then I want you to do it one more time, the opposite way to how you would normally do it. Okay, so that tells us a few things. One of them is you probably never thought of how you crossed your arms. And it's a habit, right? So it's a habit that you've never given any consideration. You never ask yourself why you do it that way. And then when I asked you to do it the opposite way, first of all, you had to become aware of how you're doing it now. And then you had to make a conscious effort to do it differently. And it feels uncomfortable, right? Because it's different. And then the second time, maybe it was a little bit easier. You still have to give it a lot of conscious thought, but it would possibly be a little bit easier. I was talking to someone the other day, and actually they just couldn't get it. It took them ages to actually work out how to do it the opposite way. And that's what happens with some of our habits. So when you've done it the third time, it's probably at least slightly easier than it was the first time. But if I then ask you to do it again tomorrow, you'd have to think about it again, right? And become aware. And if I asked you to change your habitual way of folding your arms to doing it the opposite way, that would take time, effort, awareness, energy, focus, commitment to every time you did it the old way, because habitually you'll do that, and change it to the other way. So it's a really silly exercise in a way, but it really illustrates how strong some habits are and that we don't question them. And because we don't question them, we can't change them. So when I talk about activity management and you planning your diary, your paradigm will go, I can't do that. I'm too big. I can't do that. I can't say to my boss, I can't have a meeting with you at 5 o'clock. You can. That's just what you've been used to. That's just what you've been thinking. That's all it takes. Just a little change in perception, a little way in doing things. And within no time, you will have freed up time in your diary. So let's get back to the diary. So the other thing that I always recommend is that you do not plan any meetings. Sorry, I've got a really bad cold. You do not plan any meetings in the first 1.5 hours of your day and in the last hour or at least 45 minutes of your working day. Okay, this is your time to set yourself up at the start of the day and to wind yourself down at the end of the day. And it also allows you time to deal with anything unexpected that might come up, and it does a lot, right? Without messing up your schedule for the rest of the day. So if you're done quicker than that, great, you can just start another task and start it earlier. And the other thing, if you have any meetings, whether they are regular meetings or just ad hoc meetings, any meeting that's 1 hour, reduce it to 45 minutes. Because if you can do something in an hour, you can do it in 45 minutes. Immediately, you've given yourself 15 minutes back, right? And then any half-hour meetings, cut them to 25 or 20 minutes. And the thing, and I always say this, so if you are in a meeting but you're not speaking for more than 25% of the time in a regular meeting, you do not need to physically be there. Absolutely not. The person that's taking notes or actions can send them to you, because the main reason you're there is for information. Okay. So if necessary, you could be on standby. So for instance, you could be at your desk, not plan any other meetings at that time, but stay at your desk and do your work. And then you're available at the other end of the phone in case somebody needs to call you with a question that's relevant to the meeting. But in the meantime, you're being productive and effective and getting your own work done. Right? And this is a message to you leaders as well. Tell your team members that they do not need to be in meetings where they're just sitting there to gather information, right? Make sure that someone gives them that information and they can plan it as part of their own schedule as to when they're going to read that. So immediately you've created space for yourself and you've created space and free time for your team. Super, 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 can't stress this enough. Super, super, super important to plan downtime, me time, you time, okay? And block your diary for your me time, because that is just as important, if not more important, as any other work meeting, right? Do not touch this time, because if you don't look after you, you have nothing to give. Put on your own oxygen mask first. When you look after you, when you recharge your batteries, you're way more productive, way more effective, way more fun to be with, way more patient, and it totally affects the way that you interact with people at work and at home, right? So super, super, super important to plan your downtime and to stick with it. And with downtime, I mean something you really do for you. So maybe that could be go and play in a game of squash, something you enjoy. Maybe go for a massage, maybe go to the movies, maybe whatever it is, date night. Make sure you plan it and don't touch it. So the thing is that when you start to be more strict with your time, people will just fit in with you, and they really, really will. And what you're also doing is you're giving them the example that they can be more strict and control their own time too. So you're going to sort of give them more freedom as well. So it's a great way to educate your colleagues, your team member, your leadership, people in your personal life. And it's okay to say no. It's okay to say, sorry, not now, I'll do it this afternoon or tomorrow or after the weekend, or no, I won't, or I'll delegate it, and so on. It's absolutely okay. We've all had a boss, I should imagine, who drops things on us last thing in the day and is ultra, ultra urgent all of a sudden, and especially on a Friday, right? Now, the thing is that as long as we keep doing it, they'll keep asking us. So we have to educate them. We have to educate the people in our lives. And actions definitely speak louder than words, right? So after a couple of times of you indicating that you're not doing that, you'll do it on Monday, they'll start to realize that they have to be more organized and give you sufficient time to do the tasks that they're asking you to do. Very rare, maybe 1% of the time, will something so urgent come up that it wasn't known that it needed to be done before 3 o'clock on a Friday, right? They probably knew about that a week before. So set your boundaries and become more strict, and you will educate all the people in your life. Now, the thing is that, this is proper research that's been done over years, we operate at our highest productivity for about 20 hours a week. Now, the next 20 hours are still productive, but they're not as productive as the first 20 hours. So when you go beyond like 30, 40 hours of work, you really are no longer productive or effective. And something that would take you 1 hour within the first 20 hours may now take you 3 or 4 hours. Now get beyond 50 hours, and a lot of people work more than 50 hours, right? And you will start eating into that productivity of the first 20 hours. So that doesn't help anybody, right? And really, really start to bear that in mind. You are not productive, you're not effective, you're not doing yourself, your business, or your loved ones any favors by working all of those hours. And the thing is that when you work so many hours, it does become way more difficult to switch off, right? So, bear in mind all of those sorts of tips and really start to plan and take control of your diary. It really is just like working out in a gym. Your body needs to recover to build strength and to get ready for the next segment. Your mind also needs to recover. so that you can start afresh with more power and more creativity and a new, fresh outlook. You know, I always say this and laugh about this with my clients. So the thing is, who wants to have a meeting on a Friday? Really? Nobody wants to have a meeting on a Friday. Anyway, and you checking and sending emails over the weekend doesn't help anybody, because who on earth wants to come into a full inbox from you on a Monday and mess their day up? So you're not productive. You're not allowing other people to be productive. Doesn't do anybody any favors. So here's something else to think about. When you are good at something, you normally tend to enjoy it, right? The things that we're good at, we tend to enjoy. So the key thing is that you develop your strengths. Because once you develop something you're already pretty good at, you're going to be excellent and amazing at it, right? Now, we all also have some weaknesses. So we also have things that we're not so good at. And normally we don't really tend to enjoy those things either. So we don't develop weaknesses. You want to manage your weaknesses. Delegate what you can delegate if it's not your thing. There is no point at all in spending any time or energy in developing a weakness. You feel shitty because you don't enjoy it, and you'll never become more than mediocre at it, right? So what is the point? You focus on your strengths and develop those. So there's some wise words here. Actually, I picked up from a guy on TikTok the other day. Couldn't work out what his name was, but he was good. So he said, categorize your tasks. Categorize them into important and not important, and urgent and not urgent. So he said, if it is not important and not urgent, employ somebody to do it. If it is important but not urgent, delegate it. If it is urgent but not important, give it to your assistant. And if it is urgent and important, then that's for you to deal with. Okay? So as a leader, really key to sort of bear that in mind. You don't need to get into the detail of things. You need to understand a bit about it, but you don't need to do everything, because you're the leader and you're sort of managing your people and coordinating people so that they can develop themselves, but they can do those things for you. So anyway, food for thought there, I think. So reach out if you want to, get stuck into really getting totally organized and actually really stop working all of those hours. It will absolutely free your mind and your body then to do those things that you really want to be doing. And I promise you, it really is just a bad habit that you've gotten into, right? And believe me, I will absolutely help you get out of that habit. But you've got to make that first step, right? So said it a few times, I'll say it again. This is your time, your life, your schedule, your 24 hours. You are responsible for deciding what you do. No one else has control over it, unless, of course, you give it to them. So don't do that. And because it's not empowering, right? Giving someone else control over your time. So that leads us very nicely into the next topic, which is responsibility. So responsibility, there is a big, big difference, I said before, between being responsible for and being responsible to. So being responsible to comes into play when you have made an arrangement with someone. For instance, you're employed to do a job. You are responsible to your employer to do the job, and your employer is responsible to you to pay you for it. Okay, so that's responsible to. So maybe you've made an appointment with someone, so you're responsible to that person to fulfill that appointment. Now, let's talk about being responsible for. So you would be responsible for your children before they reach the age of adulthood, and for any animals that you might choose to keep. But you are not responsible for how somebody else lives their life, how someone else chooses to feel. Note the key word here, choose. How someone else reacts, what someone else thinks of you. In fact, what someone else thinks of you is none of your business. Your business is how do you think of you. Now, the thing is that from being very young, we are conditioned to actually believe that we are responsible for how somebody feels or reacts or responds. So, for instance, your parents would want you to stop crying because then they would feel better. Maybe your boyfriend or your girlfriend wanted you to do something differently so that they could feel better. So how many relationships do you see? And maybe you're in one of those yourself, where one partner relies on the other to make them happy. Now, that can never have a happy ending. You've got to take responsibility for yourself, for your own feelings. So you're responsible for you, for your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your reactions, your responses, your perception, your attitude, for setting your boundaries, right? For being clear to yourself and being clear to others. It makes life so much easier when you're like that. So, for instance, you control your time, your diary. You need to be clear on those boundaries. And like I said before, it's okay to say, no, I'll do it later. Like I mentioned before, who wants to have a meeting on a Friday afternoon? I love that. There's, what can there ever be that can't wait until Monday, or that couldn't have been discussed Monday to Thursday prior to the Friday? Only a crisis. And if your business, or if you're experiencing a lot of crises, then there's something wrong there. We have to address that, right? Because why does that keep coming up on the Friday? Anyway, so it also means that then someone else is responsible for their thoughts, for their feelings, for their actions, for their reactions and responses, and for their perception. They are responsible for setting their boundaries and to be clear to themselves and to others. We actually have an amazing article on responsibility in our lesson 3 of Thinking into Results, which is where we learn how to use our mind really to get the results that we want. And we identify non-productive habits and behavior and replace that with productive habits and behavior. Really, really key lesson. Works for everything and anything. Anything that's not going how you want it to go, we sort of write down, okay, this is not how I want it. This is how I do want it. Now, what actions am I taking or not taking that are moving me away from my goal? And how do I replace those with actions that will move me towards my goal? Really great lesson. Now, to get back to responsibility and feeling responsible for someone. So how often do we hear somebody say, how do you think that makes me feel? Oh my God, I was in a relationship for quite a long time. And if something wasn't going his way, he would always say, how do you think that makes me feel? And I would then feel responsible and adjust. But it's not, I'm not responsible for how he feels. He is responsible for how he feels. And maybe you say that to people, right? Stop saying it, because they are not responsible for how you feel. You choose how you feel about something. And if you don't like something, then you've got to address it. You're responsible for your life, for your feelings, for your personal growth, and for every result that you get in your life. And really, truly understanding responsibility is one of the biggest keys to your freedom and empowerment. When you take full responsibility for you, you will feel totally empowered, I promise you. Because once you take control and once you stop expecting things from others or relying on other people to make you feel better, you will experience really total freedom, and that will start to build a massive confidence for you, right? So what's confidence? Or actually self-confidence. So let's take a sip of water. So the thing is that we have to have confidence in ourselves to achieve what we want to achieve. Now remember, you cannot achieve beyond what you believe, beyond what you are confident about. So why do we settle for second or third or fourth best, or even worse? Why do we put up with things that we're not really happy about? Well, it's because we lack the belief that it can be different, that it can be better. And we lack the belief because we lack confidence, self-confidence. So this time I've gone to the Oxford Dictionary, and their definition of confidence is a belief and an assurance in one's own abilities or the abilities of another. And another way they describe it is belief or assurance in oneself, trusting one's abilities, judgments, or decisions, either in general or in relation to a specific situation or activity. So having confidence will free you and will empower you to go wherever you want to go, wherever your heart's going to lead you. The thing is that when you are confident, you know, and you know that you know. So you possess the awareness, basically, that you can do, be, and have whatever it is that you want to do, be, and have. So ultimately, confidence is knowledge. So think about the trapeze thing in the circus and the acrobats. Now, the acrobats know that they can do that. They can swing between those things and do all sorts of somersaults. And even if someone told them that wasn't possible, they know that they can. So the outside opinion is completely irrelevant. Think of Roger Bannister. So he ran the first mile in under 4 minutes, right? Now, people told him that was not possible, but he did it because he believed it was possible. Think of Edmund Hillary, should say Sir Edmund Hillary. He believed he could get to the top of Mount Everest, and he did it. Anyone who had tried before him either didn't make it or they died, right? So the great thing is that once they had done it, because they had the confidence that they could do it, more and more people then believed it to be possible and did exactly the same thing. So the thing is that we are not born with confidence, it is developed. It's cultivated or not cultivated from actually very, very early age. So if you grew up in an environment where you were supported and encouraged, it's likely that you have developed confidence, certainly in a large number of areas of your life. Now, if you grew up in an environment where you were criticized, where the focus was on what you didn't do well, then it's very likely that you will lack confidence, right? Now, I want you to think of an area where you are not confident. And then if confidence is knowledge, what is the missing piece of information? Right? If confidence is knowledge, then what story are you telling yourself that is creating that lack of confidence? Because if you change your story, you'll change your belief and you'll change your perception. Right? Basically, belief is just a thought that you keep thinking. It's a story that you keep telling yourself. So instead of telling yourself why you can't, ask yourself how you can and then start taking the action towards it. We say practice makes perfect, but that's not true. Practice makes permanent. So what are you practicing over and over again? What are you making permanent? What belief are you making permanent? Is it something that you want or something that you don't want? So pick an area where you're not confident and now ask yourself, if I were confident, what would I be thinking? How would I be feeling? What would I be doing? If I were confident, how would I react or respond to this situation? If I were confident, how would I be interacting with this person? Right? And then do it. Do that. Pretend you're confident and do that. Now, one thing that will very, very quickly start building your general self-confidence is to stick with the promises that you make yourself. In fact, the biggest cause of lack of confidence is because we're not sticking with the promises that we make, right? So how often do you say to yourself that you'll do something for you and then you don't do it or you postpone it, right? So by not making good on the promises that we make to ourselves, we really give ourselves the message that we can't rely on ourselves, and that chips away at our confidence, absolutely, for sure. So pick a couple of things you've been saying you will do for you, and then do it now. I challenge you to do it in the next 24 hours. So we get into way more detail on confidence and how to build it in our lesson 6 of Thinking into Results, which is all about our self-image. Okay, so I hope it was helpful. And it's really just the tip of the iceberg, right? And the beginning of really what could be a complete transformation for you and actually happen very quickly. So just to tell you a little bit about the training. So my training is called Thinking into Results. It covers 12 modules. So I would work with you for 6 months. We do 2 weeks on each of the modules. And we basically go from goal setting. So what is it that you really want, to exploring what we call your knowing doing gap. So we're going to start swapping out some non-productive habits and behaviors for productive habits and behaviors. We really get into how the mind works and how you can align with your goal and how you stay in control of what you're thinking. Then I mentioned, the lesson on self-image, which really starts building on our confidence. We have a great lesson, the terror barrier. And a lot of people don't understand what the terror barrier really is. So we sort of hit a wall and we don't know how to push through it because we don't really understand what's going on inside of us. So the terror barrier is what's holding a lot of people back. So big lesson on that one. Then we talk about praxis, attitude, masterminding, and a few other great things. So we basically explain and then teach you how to stay in control of you. Because remember, I started today with this. What is inside of you is way, 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 way more powerful than what is outside of you. You are way more than your circumstances. So just make sure that what's going on inside of you is big and beautiful, right? And it's aligned with what you actually really want. And remember, it's the want that's important, the desire that's important. You really don't need to worry about the how, because as soon as we start thinking of the how, that holds us back. And you're not going to know how because it is new. So think about what you want and understand that no matter what your circumstances are at the moment, you can change them just like that by just tweaking the way you think a little bit. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, I'll do you an offer. So I'll do you a free full session rather than just a discovery call, a free full session, and why not a follow-up session? And I'll give you 10% off if you book that call by the end of this Sunday, which is what date? 26th, I think, is it? No, 29th, Sunday, by midnight, 29th, Sunday. Book your call, book your session. So either find the link that I'll post later or just message me and we'll get that in the diary, because I really want you to start thinking about how you can make a change, because life's going to be so much better for you when you actually start to plan some of your time, understand everything about responsibility, and start building that confidence, right? Anyway, thank you so much for joining me here today. I absolutely love doing these, like I said before. So spread the word and reach out if you want to find out more about how this thinking into results really works. And we can quickly get you to upgrade your life as well. So thoroughly enjoyed it. And I really look forward to seeing you again soon. I think the next masterclass will be end of November, early December. Start to think about 2024, what's in store for 2024. And remember to tune into my weekly Light Bites at lunch on LinkedIn and Facebook. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Can't believe it's nearly Thursday already. And make sure you get on with the actions and you do your homework. Bye, everyone. Thanks for being here.